Hi, in this video I'm going to cover off the differences between the four factions that you can find in Oddball Aeronauts. The first two factions came in Oddball Aeronauts. They are the Pirates and the Pendragon, whereas the Three Kingdoms and the Mechanauts you can find in Oddball Aeronauts too. First off, you'll probably notice great cards, not so great. That's because these ones I've printed out myself, so apologies for that. Every card has three skills. You've got sailing, you've got your guns, and you've got your boarding. Now each faction has one of those skills as their primary, one as their secondary, and the third one is worse. So if we take the Pirates first, they have got sailing as their primary skill, boarding as their secondary, and their worst skill is guns. For the Pendragon, guns is their primary, boarding their secondary, and their worst is sailing. Three Kingdoms, they've got guns as their primary, but unlike the Pendragon, sailing is their secondary, and then boarding is their worst stat. And the Mechanauts, they've got boarding as their primary, guns as their secondary, and sailing as their worst skill. So what does that actually mean? What it means is, say for the Pirates, they've got more cards in their deck that have got good sailing stats. Then, not so many cards that have got boarding as their best stat. And then last off, few cards that have got guns as their best stat. The next difference between the four factions is the composition of the decks. Now every deck is made up of several different types of cards. First type is the figurehead. Every deck, as you can see, has got one figurehead only. Now figureheads have got good lead stats, whereas their support stats, the plus values, are useless. Lead stats are used when this card is the top card. Support stats are used if it's the second or third. So in this instance, if we have him as our lead, we'd use the 6 and we'd plus the 3 from it, making 9. So the first type of card, and there's only one of these in every deck, is the figurehead. The most common type of card in each deck are the crew. Crew have pretty good lead, but not so great support. And these are the most common. The next one are the officers. As you can see, the officers, their lead aren't so great, but they are good in support. And the other main type are the support cards. Not good in lead at all, but they're great when they're used as support. So those are the four main types of cards that you get in each deck. So if we look at the composition of each of the factions, the Pirates, they have got 4 officers, 3 support, and the rest are crew. Whereas the Pendragon have got 7 officers, 3 support, and the rest crew. Now the Three Kingdoms have got the same composition as the Pendragon, so they have 7 officers, 3 support, the rest are crew. But the way that the crew are set up is different. With the Pendragon, you have 3 of the same type of crew. So in this instance, we've got our deck paws, and we will have 3 deck paws. We will then have all of our crew, each different type, i.e. deck paws, there are 3 of them. Whereas in the Three Kingdoms, there are only ever 2 of the same type of crew. So here we've got the deck runners, and there'll be 2 deck runners in the deck. What this actually means is there is more variety in the crew in the Three Kingdoms than the variety of crew that there are in the Pendragon. And finally, for the Mechanauts, they have 3 extra support cards. So they have 6 support, 4 officers, and the rest of those are crew. And the final difference between all of the factions are the different tricks. Now each faction do have some tricks that are common. So for example, with a Pendragon, if you win with guns, then one of the tricks is win with guns and your opponent has to discard an extra card. For the Pirates, that trick is very similar insofar as if you win with sailing, you get to recover an extra card. And so for the Three Kingdoms, with their guns, it's the same. Win with guns, your opponent discards an extra card. So that kind of trick is common. There are some tricks like that are common throughout, whereas there are other tricks that are unique to each faction. So what I'm going to cover off next are the tricks that you're going to find in the Three Kingdoms and the Mechanauts that you don't find in the Pendragons and the Pirates. So I'm going to start by looking at the Mechanaut tricks, but before I do, just wanted to explain, this is the trick on each card. Now normally you can only play the trick that's on your top card. So for example, in a normal situation I could only use this trick, rig this and 4th card, which basically means I can swap this card with my 4th in the deck. The only time that you can use a trick from any other card is if the trick on your top one says you can, or if you've got magic. So in this case, I could choose, instead of using this trick, I could play my magic. Now the way that magic plays out is when you want to use that trick, you announce, can I use magic, to your opponent. Now if your opponent's top card has got a light symbol on it like this, you can use that magic. However, if it's dark like this one, so if this was his top card, then you couldn't use that magic trick. Okay, so let's have a look at the Mechanaut tricks. Now the Mechanauts don't actually have any magic. Instead, what they have is this special ability with the tricks. Support and a star. Now this star is going to be a cog on the actual cards. What it basically means is your support cards, which is either your second or third card, has to have the matching symbol. So for example, if we take a look down the deck and we find here, okay, now this card here has got the symbol right here. You'll notice this one doesn't have it, but it's saying if I have my second or third card with the matching symbol and I play this card alongside this one, then I can use this trick. Now these tricks are better than the usual tricks. So in this instance, if I play the top card and this one, because it's got a matching symbol, I then get to use this trick. This one, next round, rig the top 3 cards. What that would mean is, he's been played in the next round, got my top 3 cards, and I can put them into whichever order that I like. Now the trick on this one again, my second or third card has to have the matching symbol, but then if I play boarding, I can support that with sailing, guns or boarding. Normally, if you play boarding, you can only support with boarding. So if I played all these 3 cards, my top card use the lead stat 5, plus 3, 8, plus 3, 11. Whereas with this, I could opt to use either a guns support or support for sailing. So I could go 5, plus 3, plus 4, or 5, plus 3, plus 4, or 5, plus a 3 from the sailing and plus 4 from the guns. So I can use any combination. With this trick, next round opponent must play guns. So again, my second or third card has to have that matching. And then my next round, the opponent has to play guns. It restricts them to only doing guns. This trick again, my second or third card has to have the matching symbol. And next round, I can use the trick of any top 3 card. Usually, as detailed earlier, I can only play the trick that's on my top card. So if I played that in my next round, these were my top 3 cards, I could actually play the trick from my second or my third card and not have to use this one. Counter. This is also new in the Mechanauts and the Three Kingdoms. What counter is, for example, if I played only this card, my value would be 0. If my opponent has higher, let's say that they have 5 with sailing. So, because my opponent has played sailing, then I can add 7 to my guns, but as a counter. So plus 7 to guns, 0 plus 7 gives me 7, so now I beat his score. However, I would still have the impact of my opponent winning sailing. Now sailing means he gets to recover 2 cards, so he would still get that. However, now because my value is higher, I get to apply the win effect of guns. So my opponent would therefore have to discard an extra 2 cards. So that's what counter does. Basically, both players, if my total value with the plus is higher than my opponent's, both of us are going to apply our win effects. This one's easy. If I am the lead player, so the last round I must have won it to be the lead player, I get plus 2 to my guns. So I would end up with 6 here instead of 4. This one, if I play boarding and I win with boarding this round, next round my opponent must play the same number of cards. Now I'm going to announce this during this round. So I play, I win with boarding, my opponent then knows he's got to play the same number of cards as me. So when we come to announce how many cards we're going to play, 1, 2 or 3, we ignore whatever he does and just apply what I do. So if I chose 1 card, he must play 1 card. If I chose 2, he's got to play 2. If I chose 3, he's got to play 3. Okay, as we can see here, this is another counter, but with this one, my second or third card has to have the matching symbol, and it actually gives me then a much higher counter with any skill. So those are the tricks that you find in the Mechanauts deck, which are unique to that and aren't in the base set of oddball Aeronauts. Right, let's finish up with the Three Kingdoms tricks. First trick we've got here, next round, promote 1 card from top 5. So, what promotion is, I can look down from my top 5 cards, and I can make either my 5th, 4th, 3rd or 2nd card, and I can make it my top card. So that's promotion. With this trick, it's the opposite. Demote up to 6th card. So this round I can make this card my 2nd card, or my 3rd card, 4th, 5th or 6th. So I can put it up to 6 cards down in the deck, wherever I feel it's going to be most optimum. Now some of the Free Kingdoms, only I think 3 or 4 cards have this same ability as the Mechanaut. So if I'm playing my 2nd or 3rd card and it's got matching symbol, in this case if I play boarding, I can support that boarding with guns or boarding. Now with this trick I can get +2 to my sailing this round, so my sailing will become 6, but I'm doing that at the penalty of next round I get -1 to any skill that I choose. This trick here, if I play guns and win, then I can choose the win effect. The normal win effect of playing guns is that my opponent discards 2 cards. Now, if I play and win with sailing, I get to recover 2 cards. If I play and win with boarding, my opponent discards 1 and I get to recover 1. So what it says here is I can choose any of those win effects if I've played and won with guns. So I could actually decide to recover 2 cards as opposed to my opponent discarding 2. Now with this trick, if I'm lead, so basically I won the last round, so that I'm the lead player, I can rig this and the 2nd card. So I can then do that and make my card the 2nd now. And as you can see, he's got pretty good support stats. Whereas this trick, next round, rig cards 2 to 4. So it's the next round. I've got cards 2, 3 and 4, and I can swap them any way that I like. In this case, this 4th card has got +6 to support, so he's going to be useful if I move him up to be my 3rd or 2nd card, so I can play him in the next round. This trick, next round, opponent is the lead. So no matter what, win or lose this time, so even if I win, I can make my opponent lead, and that is a slight advantage to me. Yep, the Free Kingdoms have magic. Now, unlike the magic that is found with the Pirates and the Pendragon, this is slightly different. I get a bigger +5 to my sailing or +4 to boarding. So those pluses are different and higher, whereas with the Pirates and Pendragon, they did get a plus also to the guns. So although the effect is the same, the actual difference here is the values that you get for using that magic. So there you go. Those are the differences between the 4 different factions. And those differences do mean that each faction plays out differently, but they are all balanced one against the other. So it doesn't matter which faction you choose to face off against each other. They are pretty balanced, but they are different in the way that you play. You may check out Theology of Games or Board Game Quest previews of the Mechanauts and the Free Kingdoms and their reviews of the Pendragon and the Pirates, and they also agree that, yep, they're balanced, but they also play differently. Thanks for watching.